Okay, modeling a truck, Cinema4d. First, we're going to middle mouse button click, go into our front viewport, make sure it's the front one. So it says the front right here, middle mouse button click, go to options, configure, and let's go to back, and we'll put the file right here. I've already copied mine. So this is your JPEG, your picture that you put in. Here's the picture right here for mine. So now I'm going to reduce the opacity just because it's a bit strong for me, but I can still make it out. I don't want it to obstruct the wireframe. So I'm going to drag this up, and this line right here is the bottom of our grid. So I'll put the tires on it just like if it were on the ground. Perfect. Now I'll start off with the cube. I'll take my cube. I'll kind of size it out a little bit, scale it out. Doesn't have to be perfect because right now we're going to press C to make an editable poly. Then we're going to get the points. Right now I'm using my rectangle selection. I'm going to take the points, place it to the front of my truck, and I will go over here and I will place this at the back. Great. Now, because I have one of my components selected, whenever you have any of these selected, you can just right click and do a loop path cut. So this is what I'll do right now. I'll make a cut right here. I'll zoom in. And I'll start making cuts for my wheel well. Clicking right here, trying to make them evenly spaced. Just happens to be like this in the viewport. So I'm using half of this grid. You can do it however you like. Just try not to put too many too early on. Now it's time for the rear. Starting off. You notice this one I didn't use the grid, just eyeballing it. Okay, things are looking good. I'll press my rectangle selection again, quitting that tool, quitting my edge loop tool. And right now, what I'll do is I will press, middle mouse button click, I'll go out into this view. And as you can see, this is the front of my truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all these faces because we're just going to work with one plane and then we're going to extrude it later on. So right now I'll click on the faces and I have my rectangle selection and I'll select all of these faces. And because I put it within the rectangle selection, it just grabs every face that's in there. Now I want to grow this selection. If you go over here to select, you'll see an option that says grow selection and shrink selection. So grow selection, the shortcut is UI. So I'm going to type in UI. So what it did is it grew that selection. It's getting all those faces. Now I'm pressing delete and I'm going to delete them. Now middle mouse button clicking and going back to this viewport. Now I don't need these faces right here. So I'll just take them and I will delete them. I'll also take these faces over here, which I don't need, and I will delete them. Now I'll put it in point mode, select my points, and now I'll drag up. Now right now I'm just matching this point to that section. I'm holding down Control, deselecting, and dragging the next one up, Control, deselect, dragging this one up, Control, deselect, Control, deselect. You can also zoom in as well, if it helps you. Dragging this one down, Control, deselect, dragging this one down, Control, deselect. Now I still have some gaps there, so I'm just going to right click, do another loop path cut, just to tighten this up a little bit. And some of the areas where it's looking a bit too flat for my liking. I'll click on my rectangle select to quit that tool and drag these points up. Following the shape of the wheel well. Now we're getting to this point right here. So I'll just take this part, drag it right there, and this one right here. I'll do the same thing over here. I'll take this point, and in this mode, we can use this, which moves it in the y-axis and the x-axis. So it's okay to do that in this viewport, just do not do it in the perspective viewport. Drag this one over here. Let's do the action again. We could even do it individually if you like. The more you do it, you'll find the method that you prefer, or that's quicker for you. All right. So this part down here, so we'll just grab these, bring them down. This one's fine. I'll just take this and I'll bring it over here. And just as I did before, I'll add some more loop selections. So I'll right click, loop path cut, click right here, clicking right here, right here. I'm just using it where I feel that it's flat. Press rectangle selection again, select these points, just drag them. Okay, things are looking great so far. One thing I like to do is I might bring this down just to make it a little bit flatter. Okay, it's looking good. Now I'll make another loop path cut along this area. Now, one thing to note, that this loop path cut, it tries to adapt to the shape of the closest edge. So you see how it's going the shape of the wheel well here? And now it's becoming flat the more I raise it up because this is flat. So what I'm gonna do now is press my rectangle selection again to quit the tool. I'll select all these points. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make them completely flat just like that. This edge right here. So I'm gonna press T to scale. I'm gonna scale down. Now the scaling keeps going, goes backwards, it inverts. So we can see right here the numbers that are changing. So what I'm gonna do is just move it again, depending on where you're at, or what axis, or what selection, this number might change, but right now this is in the Y direction. So I'll just press 0, and now it's flat. I'll press E to move, and I'll place this right here. Now what I'll do is, Control Z to go backwards. I'll make a rectangle selection, and I'll start moving these points. I'll press Control to deselect. Now we're gonna make the hood. Control deselect. I have this right here. Now, if I want to get some more roundness, all I have to do is right click, use our friend loop path cut once more. So I'll just make about 2 of these. Rectangle selection once more. Remember, I can use this to get both axes at the same time. You can see the front of this truck. It's a little bit inward. And we do not need this face down here. So I'll just grab faces, encapsulate this face, and delete. Now I want to do some more extrusions. So I'll grab my edge tool, I'll select all of these faces right here, What I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude these edges. So I'm not going to do a right click extrude. What I'm going to do is hold down Control and click and just move up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these windows right here, and I'm going to put this edge at the bottom of these windows. Control click, move up some more right here. Control click, control click, control click, control click, control click, control. Oh, that's it. So I'll just do Control Z. And now I'll press on this and we'll go to points. So now what I like to do is, oh, I didn't see this. It is a little taller than I thought. It's just a little faint because of the way the opacity I turned on. So let's just get our edges again. Oh, it's already selected because it was our last selection. Control click, bring it up. We're back in business. Now let's grab these points and let's move them this way. And we'll just deselect by level. So I'm just holding down Control, deselecting, and moving these some more. Holding down Control, deselecting, moving this back some more. Control, deselecting, moving this back some more. Control, deselecting, moving this back some more. I'm just working this to fit the shape of the truck. Looks good. And once again, I'm going to take this edge right here because it protrudes a little bit. Now do a Control click. Now I can press E to rotate, or I can just take my point. Ooh, Control Z. Select my rectangle tool. Let's put this where it needs to be. Looks like it's about right there. This one is about right here. And just to keep things a little bit more uniform, I'll select all of these pieces and I'll press T for scale again, scale it down, and I'll zero it out. Press E, and I'll raise it up. And we'll just keep it like that. Now this window is straight. So what I'll do is I'll Control Z, select my rectangle selection again, take these points right here, and I'll shift select these points too. I'll just move this over to about right here. And then I'll select these points. Let's move them over. Control click. These over here. Control click. These a bit over some more. So now I have the straight edge right here. Now what I'm going to do is cut out this area as well. So I'll right click, loop path cut, and I'll make this edge loop right here. And also I'll make an additional one right here. And one more. Right here. Rectangle selection once more. We'll just take these pieces. We'll cut out this shape. And for this path, I'll select this once again, scale, but this time, because we're scaling it vertically, these numbers are moving. So I like to just see which numbers are moving. Press 0 to zero it out, E to move, Move it right here. Right click, loop path cut, because we're going to cut out this window area. So we're clicking on this. I'm going to make another one right here for this little ledge that we have. Click my rectangle selection. And instead of just messing with these points, trying to get them all with this rectangle selection, because there's a lot of curve points, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in UL for edge loop, select this edge, and the same thing, even though it's point selected, I'll press T, scale down, see which one it is, zero it out, E, I'm placing it there. And everything is looking great so far. Control Z, just make sure that you don't have that selection selected and you move it and mess it up like I almost just did. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this. So we have our truck cut out. What I'm going to do is put in object mode right now. I'm just going to put it back in face mode or any mode. You can be faces, edges, or vertices, and just right click. And we're going to do an extrude. And remember, we're not touching our object when we do it. We have to be off the object. So now we just click and drag. Now I'll do a Control Z just because I like to do it at an angle, just to make sure I'm giving it the right thickness. Okay. I think that's about right. Looks good to me. So now I'll click on my selection or press 9 to quit the tool. Before we press 9, just remember it goes into this selection mode, which is totally fine. So now what I'll do is I'll cut out some of these windows. So to do that, I'll be in rectangle selection mode and I will select everything that I see here for this window. I just happened to get it perfect that time. Actually, I should have put one more loop path cut right here. It's cool. I'll just take it again. I'll place it right here. Now I'll go back and get my rectangle selection tool. Let's do that again. I'll select all of these faces. And I don't want these over here. So I'll just hold down Control, deselect those. So I have this. Now it's the middle mouse button click. Oh, I forgot one thing. When I did the extrusion, it left a this back part. It left it there's something called caps, create caps, and I didn't click this. Total accident. So what I'll do is instead of going backwards, I'll just type in UL and I'll get the edge loop of faces right here. And I'll just press delete and I'll just do another extrusion. So I'm putting it in face mode, right click, extrude. I'm off the object, click and drag. Now the back is open. That's because create caps wasn't checked. So now if I check it, we have the back side. So now it's completely filled in. Now we can go back to this mode right here, press our rectangle selection, get our faces. Now let's punch out those windows again. So select this. And with these front windows right here, I'm just going to improvise. And just take these right here. This will be my window. Or I can, just do this the correct way. I'll take these points. Now move them. Control click. Take these. Place them right here. Now I'll even take these and I will bring them down as well. Now we'll punch out both windows at the same time. So grab faces. Oh, see, look, grab those faces, but I'll grab them again. Grab those faces, shift, grabbing these. So it only selects the faces that we encapsulate within the selection. So sometimes you might have to grab a few more faces just to deselect them later. Deselect. And there we go. Now middle mouse button, and we'll see that we have both sides. Now what I'll do is I'll right click and I'll do an extrude. So I'll click off the object, extrude goes outwards, or it can go inwards. And I'll click off of create caps. That's why those faces didn't look like they were doing anything. So I'll do Control Z just to show you all again. I'll do forward. If I right click and I do extrude again, and I move them outwards, it's taking them outwards. If I bring them back in, now we see they're going back inside. But if create caps is on, we don't see that action when it goes back inside. So now what I'll do, because I have my selection already selected of these faces, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate them. So I'm gonna right click and go to split. Now what's happened is these faces right here, this is the truck. So if I move the truck, the faces are split, they're separated. Now if I click on this, and if I'll hide this, I'll click on this top dot and click on the red one. So this right here, Control Z, are the faces, and they're already in their own group because they're already called cube. So we can name this, let's name it side windows. Underscore windows. Oh, window. Side windows. Great. Now if we click on this again, we can bring back our truck. Now what I'd like to do is cut out the front faces. We can't see the edges. That's because we need to type in NB for the shortcut. Usually these trucks have a split in the middle. So what I'll do is I'll right click. Well, let me select my cube, which actually we'll name truck right now. Truck body. Put in face mode, right click. Loop path cut. I'll select it one time and I'll add some more edge loops. So now I have 4, as you can see right here. Now what I'll do is I'll press 9 to quit the tool and I'll type in, well, I'll click on edges and we'll do UL. So I'll select this one and I'll select this one. And I'll press T to scale and I'll scale this in. So we get an even scale in the dead center of this object. And I'll click on this one. Let's just double click. Should get the whole edge loop. Just to make sure we're getting the whole edge loop, I can type in NG for wireframe. And there you go. I can just shift, double click on this one, and I'll just type in NB. So we're back to our wired shaded. Let's scale these out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out this front window. So I'll select my faces. I'm in my live selection tool, and I'll just select these right here. Shift, select these. And what I'll do is I'll right click with another extrude, click. Remember, if we click this way and drag to the right, it's extruding it. Now it's pushing it in. Cool, I've done it. Now I'm just gonna right click and do a split. So what it did was it made my truck one thing and it made truck body 1 because it just took the name and put a 1 behind it. But I'll just take this and I'll change it to front windows. Great, so we have our truck, our front windows, and our side windows. So I'll press 9 right now. I'll go back into this mode. So now, let's say I want to punch out this right here and make ourselves a window, like a serving area. So I'll grab my faces, go get my rectangle selection. And I'll select, oh, let me make sure I'm selecting on my truck first. And I'll select all of these right here. Hold down shift. I could have made another edge loop right here. I still believe I can. I'll just do that for the sake of accuracy. And I'll just put it right here. Now I'll click on my rectangle selection again and select all these faces. A middle mouse button, go into this mode. Now what I'll do is I'll look at this and I've gotten both sides, which is not what I want because I'm sure that the truck only has one window it's serving out of. So I'll type in NG to see the wireframe, hold down Control and deselect this side. I'll type in NB so we can see this. Now I'll right click, extrude, click. Remember, it's going that way. I'll push it in. And since the selection is already there, I can just grab the arrow. What I like to do is push it this way until it goes to the other side and then just bring it right back in this way. Cool. It's looking good. And how far out, it depends on you. So because I like this, I'm going to press rectangle selection to get out of this. Now, I'll make the wheels. Middle mouse button click, I'll go over here, and I'll get myself a cylinder. I just need to align it to the right axis, which happens to just be Z. Positive Z is the same thing. Let's place it over here. I'll zoom in and I'll try to get this in the center as much as I can. I'll go over here, I'll type in 32, just to give it more edge loops. Now, if I click on this button, I have my scales, so let's try to get this just right. I'll raise up a little bit more. Just a little more. Oh, make sure not to rotate it like I just did. I'll drag this out, middle mouse button. I do not need these height segments right here. What I do need is segments along the cap. So I'll go to caps and segments. Let me put it in about 6. The middle mouse button, click and look. Let's do 7 just to make sure. All right. Middle mouse button. Cool. Now let's press C to make it editable. Now, if I grab my points, I'll press 9 to get my live selection tool. And if I double click on this, I'm not getting the edge loop because I have to type in UL. Now I'm getting that loop. So I'll click on that loop, press T to scale, and I'm not touching my object, and I'll scale off of it. I'll grab this one right here. I just double clicked. T to scale. Wait, T to scale. I'll push this in. Double click on this one. T to scale. Bring it in. Double click on this one. T to scale. Bring it right here. Double click on this one. T to scale. Okay, I like the way that's looking so far. Cool. So because I'm messing with this side only, I'll just mess with this one. So going to this viewport right here. And what I'd like to do is start manipulating these. So I'll press UL. I'll go to my faces, select these faces right here, press E to move. I'll push these in. I'll do it again. UL, you grab these faces right here, E to move, push these in. Cool. And what I like is it's another edge loop right here to play with. I'm just gonna do a little bit of freestyling. So I'll just right click, do loop path cut, and add about 2 more of these. Press 9 to quit, UL, click on this, W. Sorry, E to move. Let's push this out a little bit more. Now what I'll do is I'll bevel some of these edges. So I'll go get my edges. I'll click on this, I'll do UL, I'll get this edge loop, hold down shift to get this one. We'll just get it on the really sharp areas. Get it in this recessed area, get this area. Let's get this area too. Now I'll right click, bevel, click and move. Let's try to do 2 or more. That's my personal rule. And now we have this. I'll press 9 to quit. Now what I'll do is I'll punch out some of these areas for the wheel well. So I'll go to my faces and I'll select these. Let's just do 3 right there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, let's get this right. 1, 2, 3. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me start over again. Sorry about that. Let's do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's skip 3. 1, 2, 3. 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 It's a little uneven. Let's add just 1 then. Let's do 4. And math's a little off, but let's keep going for the sake of the tutorial. So middle mouse button. What I'll do is I'll right click and do an extrude, click. That's how you drag it outwards. But instead of actually using the clicking and dragging, we'll do this instead. Let me press 9 again, get that selection back. We'll just do a control and we'll push it in this way. Just a little bit. Just like this. Okay, looks good to me. Now what I'll do is I'll take my rectangle selection tool, select all these faces right here. I'll just bring it in a little bit like this. And it's looking good to me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subdivide this. First, I'll name this hubcap. Hubcap. And what I'm going to do is click on this button, go to a subdivision surface, left click, drag my hubcap and put it inside of the subdivision surface. So it's a child of this now. And look at what happened. Kind of melted it down. So let's click on our object mode. We see it added more edges to smooth it out a little bit more. If I type in NA, see what it looks like, right? Looks pretty cool. Let's do it NB again. Now let's make the actual tire rubber. For this, I will use a torus. I'll go to torus. We look at the axis oriented, wrong. If we do Y, that's wrong. We do X, that's wrong. But Z is correct, negative Z or positive Z. Take it, I'm gonna place it over here. We're trying to get this thing to be just right. That's pretty good. I'll take this point right here. Let's scale this down. Let's try to get that shape of that tire. Yeah. Almost there. It's looking good to me. Cool. So here is the torus. Let's see what it's looking like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it again, do 32 edges. I think it's looking pretty good. So I'll do is press C to make it editable. T to scale. Just scale it out a little bit. We're actually almost there. I'll go into this mode right here. Press S to zoom in on it. And I will go to point. What I'll do is I'll go to my rectangle selection and I'll grab a few levels. At this point, I'm trying to get an even selection. Middle mouse button click. What I'll do is I'll type in T to scale. And I'll scale these in a bit. No, actually, I'll do this. I'll press T and I'll scale it out like this. Oh, no. I know exactly what I'll do. I'll do a loop selection. So I'll just type in my faces, UL, and I'll grow the selection. So I'll select. Yeah, this is what I want. So you have to finesse a little bit and we get it right there. Hold down Shift. Well, now I can grow the selection. So if I type in UI, it grows it. UI grows it. It's looking good. Press S again to focus up. And I'll press T now for scale. And what it's going to do is if I scale this way, it's going to kind of flatten it, just like those edges. It's more tire-like. Okay. What I'll do is I'll do the same with the backside, even though we're not going to see it. So UL, select that. UI, UY, T to scale, scale it. It's looking good. Cool. Now this is my torus. We're going to name it tire. I'll just type in rubber, just to be clear about what exactly it is. Now, what I'll do is I'll take this tire rubber and I'll drag it into the subdivision surface too, just to smooth it out a bit more as well. Now let's type in NA. So look, and we see what we have. Nice tire. So they're all under subdivision surface, but for the sake of organization, we're going to do Alt G. We'll type in tire underscore GRP for group. Now our pivot's over here. So we'll just press E and we'll hold down the letter L and move it over here. We can also go to our orthographic views. Let's put this in the center. So L, we're holding down L, dragging it up, put it about right here. Middle mouse button click. Middle mouse button click. You see where we're at over here. The pivot's over here. So type in L again and put it right in the center. So now the pivot's directly in the center of this tire group that we made. And now I can just take the tire, place it inside of here, and we'll duplicate that later. Now let's finish up the rest of this truck. So let's middle mouse button click, go to this reference. Let's look at this. Looks like it has a sort of awning type of deal going on here. So for that, we can this pretty easily. Let's get some cylinders. Just take the cylinder right here and let's orientate it the right way. So let's go to object. Let's go to Z. Middle mouse button click. I'll take it over here. What I'll do is I'll put it right here and I'll scale this down. Put it in this area. And there we have it. Type in NB so we can see the wires. We don't need the segments for the height. And we can scale it down a bit more. Now what I'll do is I'll press C to make it editable. And I'll go to my faces. I'll press 9 to go to my live selection. Let's cut this bad boy in half, right? So let's hold down Shift, Shift, Shift. Or, you know, we can do too. We can just go here, get this rectangle selection. We deselect, and we can just select half of it like this. Delete. Then I can select this half, delete, and then I can type in, well, I'll just press 9 and I'll just do it the easy way. Just left click and hold down Shift, and delete. Now we have this face right here. What I'll do is middle mouse button click, I'll control click, and I'll drag over here. Control click, drag, control click, drag, control click, drag, control click, drag. Now I have all these cylinders right here. So let's combine them because we're going to bridge these points. So I'll just right click and I'll do connect objects plus delete. And now what it did is it changed everything to cylinder now. So it's one object, one solid object. Oh, I forgot one. It's okay. So I'll just hold down Shift, select that one, right click, connect objects plus delete. So now still all one solid object. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these edges, select this edge, right click. Let's do a bridge and click and just drag it over. Do the same thing here, click, drag it over. Select this one, click, drag it over. Select this one, click, drag it over. Click, drag it over. And that's it. Middle mouse button. Now we have this. Now what I'll do is I'll get my edge selection. Let me press 9. And I just want to get all these top edges right here. So I can just select this edge, hold down Shift, kind of just go down the line. What I'm doing is I'm just holding down Shift and I'm getting all of these edges on the top. But I grabbed a couple extra edges by accident, but it's cool because I'll just hold down Control and deselect these. Nice and smooth. Now, what I'll do is I'll extrude this edge. So I'll hold down Control, move it this way. Now we've almost got our awning done. Now, I guess I should probably give it just a little bit of thickness. Well, let's see what it looks like with some thickness and some subdivision. So I'll right click on it and I'll click on extrude. And I'll click and I'll drag. And look at what happened. You see this hollow points? That's because let me Control Z. I'll click and drag this way. Just trying to give it a little bit more thickness. The caps option isn't there. Oh, that's because I clicked on the edges. That's why it happened. So if I click on faces, then I click and move. Now we're getting it. Now, if I click on create caps, now it gives it the thickness. Let's take away this subdivision. Nice. So let's look at what it looks like if I was to subdivide it. So let me click on subdivision surface, drag it inside of here, press S to zoom in, and this is what happens. So let's disable the subdivision by pressing X and see how we can solve this. If we right click and go to loop path cut, let's give it some control edges. So click right here. I'll click right here. I guess I could have kept the subdivision from the extrusion, but we'll just do our own. So I'll make a tight edge close to here, and click one right there. Now let's click on for this and see what happens. Okay. Looks pretty good. Let's type in NA. So now we have our awning. Nice. We'll just take this, press E to move. Now you see our pivot's off once again. So let's get our pivot onto this awning. So I'll press L. I'll just move this right here. It's right in the center, middle mouse button click. I'll go over to this view. See how far over it is? Hold down L, move it right in the center. Middle mouse button click. Now we have our awning. And I could press T to scale if I want it to be like a little bigger or something. A little thicker in certain areas. So that's all on us. I'll keep it as is. Nice. Now what's left for us is the bumpers, right? Bumpers and some lights. So to make these, I'll just type in NB. I'll just get myself a cube. So look at the front of this object, click on cube, scale it down, zoom in, E to move. Try to place it in the center, because remember, this is the center right here. Take this, scale it out. Middle mouse button click, middle mouse button click. Move this right here. Just make it more bumper-like. This bumper looks a little thin. Cool. But before we put it close to the truck, let's make it first. So we have this, and you know what I'll do? I'll click on this, and I'll even give it a little bit of fillet. Let's give it like just 2. Or you know what? Let's give it no fillet. Let's do our own fillet. Let's press 6. And what I'll do is I'll right click. I'll put it in my face mode, I guess, or any mode, remember. Loop path cut. And let's just click. And let's make 2 of these. Or we can make 4. Let's make 4. And let's do a 9 to quit the tool. UL, click on edges. Hold on this one. Press T to scale, scale it out. So like about here. And I'll double click on this edge right here. Shift, double click on this edge, scale it out. And let's press E to move, push it forward. And then I'll grab this face right here, go down shift, grab this face. And I'll just kind of like pull it back a little bit. Now what I'll do is just give a little fanciness. I'll right click, do another loop path cut. I'll click 1, 2. So we have this. And what I'll do is I'll press 9 and I'll type in UL and get this selection right here. So I have this whole selection. Now let's right click and do an extrude. Click and drag inwards. And remember, we can't see what's happening inwards because create caps is on. We click on create caps, it's gone. And since we mess with this, let's drag this in a little bit. I'm not liking the way that did that. So let me do this one more time. Actually, let me just press 9. And I'll select this. Shift, shift, shift. We don't have that many faces. Did I get that very edge one? I should get the whole thing. I should just done the edge loop, but sometimes I have to think a little bit about this before I do it. So right click, let's do an extrude. Click. It's not doing exactly what I like. it to do. I can drag outwards doing that. I'm trying to pull it inwards. Well, let me just do a right click, extrude enter. So I'll do this right here. All right. Then I'll do a right click, extrude, and pull it in. Yeah, we'll do like this. Now let's press 9 to quit it. And we'll do the same thing. So let's do front bumper. And we'll do another subdivision. Click on this, subdivision surfaces, drag this inside. And now we have ourselves a nice little bumper. Take this and we'll drag it onto the front of our truck. Now that front bumper is right there. So I'm going to do a control click and duplicate this. And so now it says front bumper 1, which is really back bumper. Now rotate this by clicking on R, clicking on the band, holding down shift, getting the increments of 100, of 15, wait, is it 15? Oh, 5 degrees. So we want it to be 180. And we'll just put this on the back. All we have to do is look here for the correct location. We can make it, scale it up if we need to. Cool. Now click on this one, and I'll press, since the pivot's off, I'll press L. What it's done is it's made the pivot in the center because they're both been created. So I'll just press L. I'll take this one, and I'll just raise this up, and I'll press T to scale, and just scale this up. Nice. I'm not sure why this one's subdividing, but that one isn't. So I'll just drag this out. I'm not sure why that happened. I figured since they're both being subdivided. Okay, I just had to drag that. Oh no. It's just giving it for me one. So I'm just left clicking and dragging these outside of the folder. So I'll select both of these bumpers. And you know what? I'll even combine. Well, let me see what happens. If I drag them in, both in, only one's doing that, which is strange because the tire group did that. So I'll just take this back bumper, put it in. And I'll just make another subdivision surface. I'll just drag this front bumper in there. I'll take both of these. And I'll just put, well, they're both bumpers, so I could name them, but let's just put them in a group. So I'll just do Alt G. I'll just type in bumper score GRP. All right, so now we have a bumper group. Nice. Oh, so we're almost there. I don't know what that is. You see that hanging out there? Let me just see real quick. Oh, that's the pivot for both of those. So I'll just press L. Let me just move it right here, even though we're not going to be messing with this too much longer. Then we have this right here. So I'll just do, I can just Alt G, name this awning. It's not really a group. We just want to name it awning just for organization's sake. Now, the last thing I will do is I'll make a little tray right here. Well, a ledge like we have in our reference. And I'll do a door handle as well. So I'll just make a box. So middle mouse button click. Okay, I'll drag this right here. Make this a little bit thin. We'll just put it right here, push it down a little bit, and we'll fillet this one for sure. Remember, when it comes to fillet, you can mess with this right here to soften it. So it's looking great, in my opinion. So now we just have to do the lights and the door handle, and then we're done. And then we're going to take it into the UV. So let's do another cube. Make this smaller. Drag this up. It's about right here. It's a little bit thinner. I'll fillet this one too. Middle mouse button. Take this, put it over here. Let's scale this down. Press S to zoom in. Let's look at this. Now let's press C to make it editable. We'll grab these points, we'll grab them on this side. Press T to scale, and we'll just scale it down. And then we can grab our box selection right here again. And we can, let's say, take all of these, push these forward, control click, push these forward, and then I'll select them all and press T and make them a bit wider. And we can just drag this out right here. Looks good to me. Select this. I'll just scale it in a little bit. Oh, instead of scaling it in, because we don't want to ruin the roundness, let's just get these points and push them like this. And then I'll take these back points, press T to scale, just a little bit thinner. Looks good. Press E. And now we're going to place it right on our door. Looks good. Now what's left is the lights, or are the lights. So like cylinders to me. So what I'll do is I'll just make grab a cylinder. Press S to zoom in. We already know by now it's the Z axis. Now with this, same thing. I'll just make it a 32. Well, actually, let's just keep it at 16. We'll just subdivide this. Mouse button click. Go out into this view. Let's drag it in front of our truck. Let's raise it up. Take away these height segments. Let's make it like this. Make C, press C to make it editable. Rectangle selection, select on the faces. What we'll do is we'll delete half of this. So select all half, delete. I'll select this. And I'll do a control click to duplicate it. Now it's time to rotate it. So I'll press R to rotate. I'll click on the band, hold down shift. Get the degrees, you see the numbers, you know you're doing it right. And 180. Now, we'll do is rectangle select both of these, right click, connect plus delete. Now what I'll do is, I'll select my object and then I'll right click. Well, let's go to a component, right click, and let's do a good old bridge. Oh no, I want to click on edges. That's what I want to do. Control Z. Sorry, I did that wrong. Press 9. Let's start over. Let's do a UL. On this, shift. Let's right click and let's do a bridge. So I'm just clicking this middle face. I'm just bridging it over. Click on an edge. Click on an edge. and connect it. Sometimes it's a little tricky. Let me press S again to zoom in. And sometimes if it gets out of whack, you can press S to zoom in, click on this, and then rotate a little bit, and then everything stays in the center again. Let's do this top one. Do that, yeah. Now go on this side. Select this edge. So I'm selecting like the middle and dragging it to like the middle of the other side. Now I'll like select the middle, drag the middle. Nice, 9. I'll do another UL, grab this front, right click, bevel, click, drag it in. Let's give it about 3. Nice. Now I don't really need these back faces, so I'll just select the faces. I can press 9 for a selection tool, and I can just paint these faces. You know, put my mouse around them. Let me press 9 again. You just click on the object. 9 for a live selection. Click on faces. A little trouble selecting. Well, I'll go to rectangle selection. Let's just do that. Select all these. So now we have all these faces for sure. And give it a delete. So now I'll just put it in object mode. And I'll take this. I'll drag it over here to the center. Press T to scale, and I'll just scale it on down. Press S to zoom in. Scale it down. A little bit wider. Doesn't have to be exact if you don't want it to be exact. Sometimes it just needs to look good. And that's the only requirement. So what I'll do is I'll name this light bulb. I'll just move this right here. Press S to zoom in. Nice. Now I'll make another one. So I'll control click. So I have this one. I'll press T to make it bigger. Just scale it up a little bit bigger. Press E. And I'll drag it in. So what this is doing is this is kind of serving as like a little bezel for it. Then press T again. Make this chrome or something like that. So light, bulb, and light. Bezel. Do both of these. Let's do Alt G. Just type in turn. Use turn signal. Turn signal group. Control click. Bring this over here. Now we have this. Great. We could also like, you know, just duplicate this later as well. And we could do something similar and make some headlights. So for that, I'll go to this view. I'll make myself a cylinder. Let's see what view it's going to go into. What axis? X, it's X this time because I'm looking from the front. Actually, since it's in the center like this is how we should be modeling some of these components. So I'll put this in the center. And then what I'll also do is I'll do a sphere. All right. So it's perfectly in the center with the sphere. There's no real orientation on the sphere. What we can do is we can E, and then I can do R, hold down shift. Well, no, click on the band, hold down shift, and turn it 90 degrees. Now we have this. All right. Scale it down. Let's give this about 32. Make it a little bit smoother. And you know what? Instead of doing cylinder, let's do torus. Make torus look a little bit better. That's what I'm trying to do. Next. So make this smaller. We're gonna make it like this. So the sphere is gonna be our light. So I'll just press C to make it editable. Go to faces, click on rectangle selection, select this, and I'll just do a UI to grow. And I'll delete all this back part. And I guess I could do it to the cylinder too. So I'll click on, sorry, little light bezel we're gonna make. So I'll click on this torus, C to make it editable. I'm just lining it up. So what I'm doing right now is basically doing what I do in this view. And all I'm doing is just selecting half of it because we're not going to see it. We could have grown that selection too, but it's not too important. Select on the sphere. Let's press T to scale. And we can make it flatter. Oh no, this is for the bezel. Press S. We could also do this for the sphere to make it flatter. And then E to move. So we have this. Looks good. So light bulb. Front light. Front light. Bezel. Okay. And I'll just do Alt G and I'll do front light. Front light. Underscore group, middle mouse button click, middle mouse button click. So I can just take this right now and put it right here, press T to scale, whole group. E, push it in, S to zoom in. Now we have this. Cool. What I'll do is I'll just kind of place it right here in this little corner. So I want the top of this to go across this edge and this edge right here. So as long as it's like this, perfect. Great. We're on our way. So we have a front light group, we have a turn signal group. Let's actually delete the second turn signal group because we're going to assign shaders before we start duplicating these again. So no, I guess this is empty group. I don't know where that came from. Cube. Let's name this countertop. A bumper. We have our awning. We have our tires. We have our truck body. We have our front windows. We have our side windows. And we can select both of the windows and do an Alt G and name this windows. Underscore group. Nice. Now, what I'll do is I'll take this truck body and I'll put this in the Photoshop.